We made it to the bottom, 11,000 meters, the deepest point on Earth. We saw things down there that most humans will never witness. The pressure, the darkness, the life that shouldn't exist. But now comes the hard parts. We have to go back up. The ascent clock starts now, 10 hours back to the surface, the same distance, the same zones, but everything feels different on the way up. Because now we know what's down there. The ballast is released. The weights drop away into the trench below us, falling into darkness we just escaped from, and slowly the submersible begins to rise, 1 meter per minute, no faster. The pressure differential would crush the hull if we ascended too quickly, so we wait and we climb. 11,000 meters below the surface, 10,999, 10,998. The numbers don't feel like progress. They feel like a countdown to something we can't see yet. We cross 6,000 meters. We're leaving the Hadal zone, the underworld. The amphipods that swarmed the bait are gone now. The snailfish, translucent and alien, fade into the black below us. This is their world. We were only visitors. But the ascent is slow, and in the silence you start to notice things. The hull creaks, not the sharp pops from the descent. These are long, drawn-out groans. The metal is adjusting, expanding, the pressure is releasing, and the submersible is breathing again. It sounds alive, it sounds relieved. But you're not. Because you realize something, the creatures down here don't need to follow us up, but they could. 4,000 meters, the abyssal zone, we're back in the eternal midnight. No day, no night, just the deep, crushing dark. The lights are on, the external floods illuminate maybe 10 meters ahead, and in that light you see movement. A shape passes through the beam, too big, too fast. It's gone before you can identify it. The sonar pings, once, twice, no return. Whatever it was, it's not metal, it's not rock, it's organic, and it's not curious, it's hunting. You check the oxygen, 7 hours remaining, enough to reach the surface. Barely. But 7 hours is a long time in the dark. 3,500 meters, halfway through the abyss. And then you see it. A light not from the submersible, not from your instruments. A light outside, blue-white, pulsing about 50 meters to your left. It flashes 3 times, then stops. Bioluminescence, a deep-sea creature using light to communicate, or to hunt. You've read the research. Some species use bioluminescent lures to attract prey, others use it to confuse predators, but some rare, poorly understood species use it to coordinate. Another flash, this time to your right, same pattern, 3 pulses. Then another behind you. They're surrounding the submersible. You cut the external lights, total darkness. The only illumination now is the faint glow from the control panel. Your heartbeat is the loudest sound in the cabin. The flashes continue, circling, moving closer, then after 2 minutes they stop. Silence. You wait 30 seconds, then you turn the external floods back on. Nothing, the water is empty, whatever was out there is gone. Or it's waiting. 3,000 meters, still in the midnight zone, still no light from above. The submersible shudders, not from pressure, from impact. Something brushed against the hull. You check the external cameras. The rear camera shows a shadow, long, serpentine, moving away into the dark. Oarfish, they've been recorded at these depths. They can reach 11 meters long, mistaken for sea serpents for centuries, harmless. But the shadow you saw was longer than 11 meters. You don't report it, you don't want to believe it, so you focus on the ascent, 3,000 meters, 2,900, 2,800. Climbing, 2,000 meters, and for the first time in hours you see it, faint, almost imperceptible, but it's there. Blue. Not the black blue of the abyss, not the bioluminescent blue of hunting predators. This is daylight blue, filtering down from 2,000 meters above. It's so faint you're not sure if it's real or if your brain is inventing it because it needs to see something familiar. But it's real. The twilight zone is above you, and beyond that the sunlight zone, the surface, the world. You're going to make it. But you're not there yet. 1,500 meters, deep twilight zone, and this is where they live. Giant squid, Architeuthis ducks, the deep-sea nightmare that took centuries to photograph alive. Eyes the size of dinner plates, arms reaching 13 meters, beaks strong enough to cut through steel cable. The submersible's lights sweep the water column, and you see it. Tentacles hanging motionless in the water. The body is above, out of view, but the tentacles are there. 8 thick arms, 2 longer feeding tentacles, each one covered in suckers lined with sharp tooth-like rings. The squid is hunting, and you are in its territory. You kill the lights, again darkness. The squid hunts by detecting movement and silhouettes against the faint light from above. If you stay still, stay dark, it won't see you. 30 seconds, 60 seconds, you don't move, you barely breathe. Then slowly you turn the floods back on. The squid is gone. You don't know if it swam away or if it's still there, just outside the light watching. You ascend faster, the maximum safe rate. You'll risk the pressure change. You need to get out of this zone. 1,000 meters, the top of the twilight zone, and you can see the difference now. The water is lighter, not bright, but no longer the crushing black of the abyss. This is the deep scattering layer, the biomass zone. Millions of organisms migrate here every night, rising from the depths to feed in the richer waters above, and every morning they descend back into darkness. But it's not night, it's midday, and the layer is still here, which means you're surrounded by life, schools of lanternfish, jellyfish with trailing tentacles, siphonophores stretching 30 meters long. And predators, always predators. A shape moves through the edge of the light. Sleek, fast, a shark, not a great white. This one is built for the deep. Blunt-nosed six-gill, prehistoric, slow-moving, but at this depth it's the apex. It circles once, twice, then disappears below. Your prey here, you don't belong, and everything knows it. 500 meters, and the water is blue, real blue, the kind you remember from the surface, the kind that means safety. You can see the light rippling above, sunlight penetrating the water. It's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. The oxygen is at 4 hours. You're ahead of schedule. The ascent is smooth. The hull has stopped creaking. The pressure is manageable now. You're going to make it. But you're not celebrating yet. Because 500 meters is still deep. Deep enough that mistakes are fatal. Deep enough that you can't just swim to the surface if something goes wrong. So you stay focused. You monitor the instruments. You count the meters. Climbing. 200 meters, the epipelagic zone, the sunlight zone, the same depth where you started 20 hours ago. The water is warm, you can feel it through the hull. The temperature sensors show 18 degrees C. It feels tropical after the near-freezing abyss. And there's life everywhere. Schools of tuna flash silver in the sunlight. Jellyfish drift in the current. A sea turtle glides past the viewport, completely unbothered by the submersible. This is the ocean people think they know, the blue, the peaceful, the postcard version. But you've been to the bottom, you've seen what's underneath, and you know the truth. This peaceful zone is just the skin. Underneath is 11,000 meters of darkness, pressure, and things that don't belong in textbooks. 50 meters and you have to stop. Decompression, the nitrogen in your blood needs to off-gas slowly. If you surface too fast, the dissolved nitrogen forms bubbles in your bloodstream. The bends, paralysis, death. So you wait at 50 meters for 20 minutes. The submersible hovers, the thrusters hold you in place, and you stare up at the surface. You can see it, the rippling barrier between the ocean and the air, the sunlight dancing on the waves. You're so close. But 20 minutes at 50 meters feels like hours, because you're suspended between two worlds, not deep enough to be in the abyss, not shallow enough to be safe. You're in limbo. And in the distance you see a shape, large, moving toward you slowly. A whale, blue whale, the largest animal on Earth. It passes 30 meters away, completely unbothered. Its eye rotates toward the submersible just for a second, and then it's gone, descending back into the blue. It knows where you've been, it knows what's down there. And it's going back down anyway. 10 meters, the surface is right above you. You can see the sunlight breaking through the waves. The support ship is there, waiting. The final ascent, slow, controlled, you breach the surface. And the hatch opens. Fresh air, sunlight, the sound of wind and waves, the smell of salt and diesel from the ship. Everything you took for granted before the dive. You climb out, your legs are shaking, not from fear, from exhaustion, from the weight of what you just experienced. The crew is cheering, congratulating you, asking what you saw. But you don't answer, not yet. Because there's only one thought in your mind. In 70% of the planet, in the deep ocean, in the crushing dark, there are things we've seen once. Things we filmed for minutes. Things we measured and recorded. And they're still down there. Still hunting, still surviving, still living in conditions that should be impossible. And we've explored less than 5% of it. Which means 95% of the ocean floor, the abyssal plains, the Hadal trenches, the mid-ocean ridges, is completely unknown. We don't know what's down there. And after 20 hours in a submersible, after seeing the things that do exist at 11,000 meters, you realize something terrifying. Maybe we're not supposed to know. We've just experienced the return journey, the same 11,000 meters, the same zones, but everything felt different knowing what's below. The creatures that flashed lights in the abyss, the squid waiting in the twilight, the shape that brushed the hull at 3,000 meters. They're still there right now, hunting, surviving, existing in darkness and pressure that would kill us in seconds. And the ocean covers 70% of our planet. Which means the unknown is bigger than the known. If you made it through this video, you're braver than most. Or maybe you're just as obsessed with the deep as we are. Either way, hit subscribe, because next time we're going somewhere even stranger. Not deeper, but darker. See you there. If you dare.